Recap of the anime, The Silver Guardian Season 1. Suijin is a very kind person, but he was very poor, and he had no family and was all alone. To provide for himself, he works small jobs from his school, and he lives outside the streets because he cannot afford a home. But one day he finds out that he is the grandson of a billionaire.
What?
In the future, Suijin is standing on top of a pyramid where countless hordes of monsters arrive.
Did you pray today?
Suijin is alone with only his cat as his company. He is the mightiest protector of Earth and must use his power to defend the Earth from these monsters. Back to 1 year in the past. On a hot sunny day, Suijin was working as a lifeguard for the school's pool. A bunch of kids approach him. Seeing that he is just a poor kid who works for the school, they decide to bully him by throwing his cat in the pool.
What? No, dude!
Suijin immediately jumps in the pool to save his cat, even though he did not know how to swim.
Skill issue.
He ends up drowning in the pool and thought he was dead, but when he opens his eyes, his cat jumps happily to see him alive. He sees his friend, Ranchu, and thought he was the one who saved him. But he reveals that it was a girl named Riku Rei that saved him. She is the sole daughter of Rikuyuki, the vice president of the God Grave Tech Company, which is one of the richest leading company in gaming industry in the world. She is the most popular girl among the boys at that academy because she was very smart and pretty. While he was cleaning the side of the pool, he got a glimpse of how Rei saved him, and he blushes.
Yeah, boy.
At night, after finishing his job, as always, he used the electricity for free from the girls' dormitory nearby, and starts playing his favorite game, Dungeon Century. He is the god of that game because he can defeat strong and formidable opponents with a low-level equipments in a matter of seconds. As he was playing, he hears a girl crying for help in the game, because a mushroom monster was chasing after her. So, he decides to help her and instantly defeats the monster. The girl approached near him to give her thanks for saving her, and she introduced herself as Rei. But suddenly his computer turned off due to the power outage. He panics, but managed to figure out the problem. As he was trying to fix the problem, the window from the girl's dormitory suddenly opens. And on that window was Rei, who was talking about how talented the person from the game was. She sees Suijin, who was on top of a lamppost. Rei's roommate immediately throws a pillow at him and calls him a pervert as she thought he was trying to peep on them. The next day, as he was working, he hears Rei talking to her friend. And then, he notices the character that he saved the previous day in the game, and realized that it was her. His friend noticed that he was glaring at Rei. He advised him to not fall for her because she is out of his league. In the evening, as he was trying to play his game, he made a decision to forget about Rei because he knows that she is out of his league. Suddenly, a friend request notification instantly pops up, and it was Rei. He panics and almost chokes on himself. Then, the next several months went on like a dream for him as he was able to spend time with her every day. He tries to convince himself to not fall for her because he can only spend time with her in the game. Because he knows that in the real world he is just a loser, and a girl like her will never fall for him in the real world.
Emotional damage!
But one time on the game, when she asked that she wants to meet the real person, he realized that he had actually fallen for her. But he convinced himself that even though she can never be his in the real world,
What?
but at least he can spend time with her in the game, and he wished that it will last forever. But one day, a notification pop up revealing that his favorite game will be ending soon, as the company has decided to do so. The next day, Suijin walks around the campus like he was a zombie because he was too depressed and he felt like the whole world was ending. Rei's father gave her a box and told her that if something happens to him, follow the instruction inside the box. Hearing this, she was worried, but her father assures her not to, because it is just a precaution. He reveals to her that the prototype game called Dungeon Century will be ending soon, and a new game will start in its place, and this game has the ability that will truly change the world. He asks for her forgiveness because he knows that she had met someone she liked in the game, and Rei blushes on hearing that because she didn't realize that her father was monitoring her. Meanwhile, Suijin's friend Ranchu sees him being depressed, and he found out the reason for his depression, so he recommends that he should try talking to Rei in the real world instead. But Suijin disagrees because he thinks that he is unworthy of her. At night, Rei was waiting for Suijin in a pub inside the game. She hears a rumor from the players that there is an item called the Evening Song Flower in that game, and if they are able to find it, they can get any single wish of their desire. Suijin finally came. Ray tells him that the game will end in 1 week, so they should enjoy their given time as much as possible. Hearing this, he became sad, as he thought that to Ray, this is just another game and he is just another game buddy.
What?
As they were hiding from the rain, Ray tells Suijin that before the game ends, she wants to find the item called the Evening Song Flower because she wants one of her wish to be fulfilled, and Suijin decides to support her, which made her very happy. After some time, the new game called Grave Buster finally launches. It is a game where all the players will be grave robbers and they will get various treasure on completing each stage. And all the item they have in the old game will be transferred to the new game. Then, the day came where Dungeon Century will finally come to an end, and Suijin was truly sad because he will lose the only way of connecting with Ray. Suijin was really late that day because he was busy with work, so Ray left him a message with the manager of the pub, and she went ahead to search for the item. Meanwhile, Ray's father was still in the office monitoring the end of the game. But suddenly a red-haired girl came and threatens to kill him if he doesn't accept her request of opening a tomb filled with secrets.
No!
But he declines to her demand, so she kills him. Inside the game, as Ray was trying to find the item in the field of flowers, a monster appears as the game was hacked. It kills all the players and loots their items. As it attacks Ray, she starts to fight back and Suijin finally made it into the game. He sees the destruction all around and he finally met the manager of the pub where he gave him Ray's message. She requests him to come as soon as possible and she went ahead to find the item, so he rushes towards her. Suijin finally meets Ray, where she was defeated in the fight. She thanks him for always being there for her and told him that she was sorry that she could not find the item, because she wanted to give it to him as a gift as she was very grateful to him. Hearing this, he cries and his tears falls on a flower that Ray was holding. That flower suddenly blooms and turned into the item they were searching for. But then, the monster came again to take the item, but Ray sacrificed herself to save it and she dies, leaving the item with Suijin as the game finally shuts down. The next day, it was very foggy and Suijin was walking hopelessly to his job. But then, he suddenly sees Ray who was petting his cat. He tries to walk away but Ray stops him. She tells him that she finally knows that he is the one that she has been playing with all this time. She thanks him for helping her all the time inside the game. But he tells her that he does not deserve her thanks because he wasn't able to do anything at the most crucial time and he couldn't even save her. But then, she motivated him telling him that he should save her in the new game instead. He was so happy that he ends up destroying his bike and she laughs at him. But the next day, Suijin finds out about the death of Ray's father from his friend. So, he ran to her dormitory to meet her but he found out from her roommate that she had left already as some people from the company had came to pick her up. On the funeral, Ray hears people's gossip that her father had a lot of debt from various people and now that her father is gone, she will have to take the responsibility to pay them. Elsewhere, Suijin just looks at the screen on the TV about Ray's father's funeral, but then, as he sees her father, he sees a vision of the past and he realizes that he knows her father. The next day, Suijin was invited to meet Ray in her father's office. She hands him the box that her father had gave her earlier, because inside the box, it was instructed to hand it over to Suijin if anything happens to her father. He opens the box and sees a game console called Seabay that looked like a phone and it was for the new game called Grave Busters. As he touches it, the device scans him completely for recognition and begins loading to activate. As Suijin was wondering why her father gave the console to him, Ray tells him that she is not the biological daughter of Yuuki Riku, although she do not remember the past but she was apparently adopted by him, and this is the reason why she does not know why her father had instructed her to give the game console to him. Then, a worker of the company came and informed Ray that there are guests waiting for her outside. So, Ray went outside and she tells Suijin to wait for a while. As he was waiting, the console finally activates and it displayed his wealth that he has inherited over 10 billion yen. He gets completely surprised by this. Then, a message from Rikuyuki activates, telling him that he is Ray's father and his grandpa as well. He explains to him that he left all this wealth with him because he wants him and Ray to live happily together. Hearing this, Suijin becomes very happy and starts imagining his life with her, and he starts blushing. Then, his grandpa further explains that Ray is not his biological daughter, and her parents were killed by the enemy. Her parents were comrades of his, and they had the same purpose with him, but the enemy got to them first and they were eliminated. So, he took Ray in and raised her as his child while protecting her from the enemy. Suddenly, he hears Ray screaming as the guest that came to meet her tries to take her away so that she can pay her father's debt.
Oh, hell no!
As she was struggling to break free, Suijin rushes towards her to save her. But he gets beaten badly, and as they were trying to leave along with Ray, Suijin stops the man, telling him that he will pay the debt. He rushes to take the money from the console, but sadly, Ray is taken away. Suijin realizes that all the money that his grandfather left him is locked inside the game. Suijin did not give up and he goes on his bike and tries to chase after Ray. The man notices this. He immediately used their car and Suijin ends up falling from his bike. Suddenly, inside their car, a man named Silicon shows up.
It was at this moment that he knew. He f***ed up.
He destroys the entire car and knocks Ray unconscious. Suijin finally arrives and Silicon tells him that his master gave him a message telling him that he will be waiting for him inside the game called Grave Busters. He and Ray then immediately disappears. Back at his house, Suijin checks on the console, and he wonders what should he do in order to save Ray. But then, a green-haired woman immediately appears, and she introduces herself as Twin Star and calls him as her master.
Yeah, boy.
Suddenly, she transports Suijin into the game world of Grave Busters, and Suijin finds himself in a giant desert. Since her energy is depleted, Twin Star immediately transforms into her real form. A monster rises from the ground and it tells him that he will begin a test where he will judge him if he is worthy of being a Tomb Guardian. But Suijin leaves as he was disinterested, but he immediately stops when the monster tells him that he can only save Ray when he passed the test. At that moment, several Tomb Raiders arrive in the game and attacks them, because they want the treasure that is inside the tomb. The monster tells him that this is his test and his role is to protect the tomb from the Tomb Raiders. Suijin accepts the test and the monster summons Shostya, the goddess of the desert, and she was so happy to see Suijin. She immediately kisses him and the seal on his memories is broken. Suijin finally remembers about his grandfather and he realized that he was the one that gave him his scarf. It is then revealed that the giant monster is actually Suijin's grandfather, and this monster form is just the data he saved before his death. Elsewhere, Ray wakes up inside a cell and a strange girl tells her to dress up and get ready for her purification. Suijin and his grandfather gets attacked by several Tomb Raiders and they run inside the tomb to escape from them. Inside the tomb, his grandpa shows him that it can be turned into a giant robot, and they activate it to fight back, and this completely surprises the Raiders. Suijin and Shostya try to pilot the giant robot to fight back, but they did not know the controls properly and they were completely dominated by the Raiders. And the robot was heavily damaged when one of the Raiders, a long-range sniper, attacks them. They were all worried and thought they will surely lose, but Suijin did not give up and he managed to find a gun and he uses it to blast away the sniper. But the blast was immediately countered by one of the Raiders and they received the damage instead. Then, she used her ability to hypnotize Shostya to waste their ammo, and she summons many giant insects to get inside the robot to kill them. Suijin's grandfather starts to disappear because the tomb is heavily damaged and they have lost a lot of data. As his last words, he tells Suijin to protect Bango's tomb at all costs, because it will surely help him in saving Ray. Then, his grandfather disappears. Suijin became really sad and angry as well, and he managed to awaken his hidden powers. He immediately goes out to fight the Raiders. They were all shocked in sensing his power and skill, and he manages to defeat them easily. After the battle, Shostya tells Suijin that he has passed his test and he has finally been acknowledged as a Tomb Guardian, and he also learns that he is the last Tomb Guardian. Then, she tells him that since he has completed this stage, her role has come to an end. She hugs him and tells him goodbye and she disappears. Suijin is sad, but then, he is immediately faced by a strange woman with a gun. She tells him that he is unworthy of being the last Guardian and the title suits her better and she shoots him. After getting shot, Suijin returns to the real world. There he gets a mysterious phone call from a man named Temujin. This man tells Suijin to meet him inside the game. He sends him a picture of Ray sleeping. He got excited, sad, and he starts panicking. Later on, Suijin do more research on the library about Grave Buster. His friend, Ranchu, saw his dedication, so he introduced him to his friend who was a game freak and has a lot of info about the game. While doing his research, Suijin learns that the current ruler of Gravebuster is a person named Dark Tiger. Dark Tiger is the head of an organization named Precious, and they have a lot of wealth, and they use it to control the game world while stealing other players' money and item to gain more power. Suijin further learns from the girl that there is an organization called Totem, and they are fighting against Precious. And Temujin is their leader, and he is known as a vile man who devours everything and is willing to do anything to win. Suijin panics upon learning this, because he fears that Rei might be devoured by him. Elsewhere, Temujin goes to see Rei and she demands to be released, but he just laughs at her and leaves her alone. Inside the game, some innocent players get captured by the raiders that attacked Suijin and his grandpa earlier. Their leader named Wild Wolf prepares to take all of their credits so that their team will be more rich. But suddenly, the woman who shot Suijin shows up and she saves the players. She reveals her name is the Collector and her only purpose is to kill Tomb Raiders. Wild Wolf and his gang unleash their attacks on her, but it has no effect on her as she was very powerful. She fires off her magic gun and defeats all of them in one single blow. Elsewhere, Suijin summons Twin Star once again and she takes him back into the game world. Takashi and Mikan are very close friends. They've both tried making money inside of the video games for a very long time but has not succeeded. Both of them live in a very poor condition in a slum area, and they both want to escape their fate. And recently, Mikan became very sick and they need a huge amount of money to treat her. Takashi promises her that he will earn enough money inside the game, so that her illness will be cured and they will both escape and live their life on a better place. Takashi logs in inside the game and he tries to enter a martial arts tournament to earn money, but he was denied entry because he has no entry fee. As he was trying to enter illegally, he meets Suijin who was flying mid-air thanks to Twin Star. He inquires him about the location of the tournament as he need to meet someone there. So, he guides them to a special arena where fights are happening between the players. As they were watching the match, Takashi uses his magic book, and because of this they all fell down, and Suijin mistakenly knocks out one of the opponents on the match. As a rule of the match, the intruders of the match, that is both Suijin and Takashi, has to fight against the Viking warrior because they defeated his opponent in the final round of his match. Takashi apologized to Suijin for dragging him to this mess because he needs the prize money for a reason and he will do anything to get it. Suddenly, they made an announcement that there is an extra rule where intruders of the match will have their abilities halved. Meanwhile, Rei is brought to a secret chamber where Temujin and his followers were there. He gives her a red console and tells her that she is now part of their order. At the arena, the fight began and Takashi uses the ability of the book that converts any photograph inside it into power. But there is a catch. Every time he uses the power, the memories contained within the photograph disappears. But for Takashi, he did not care because he was willing to do anything to save Mikan. As Takashi was trying to fight the Viking warrior, Suijin stops him and he tells him that he will take care of it, because he will not like it if all his precious memories he made with Mikan were to vanish just for the sake of money. Takashi starts crying, and he was very thankful to Suijin. As Suijin was fighting with the Viking warrior, he was completely dominated because he is still an amateur fighter. The Viking traps Suijin and he was trying to deliver his final blow, but he was stopped by Twin Star, and she tries to transform herself into a beast, but fails and transform into a cute form instead. The Viking immediately grabs her as she was too cute. Seeing this, Takashi immediately saves Twin Star from him. The Viking got really annoyed, so he attacks him. Takashi did not give up at all and he bears all his attacks. Twin Star was really impressed with his courage and dedication, so she transformed into her angel form to save him. The crowd were all surprised, because they saw that she can transform into any form she wants, and they know that only high-level familiar could do that. They all look at Suijin and wonders who was he, as he could control such a high-ranking familiar. Then, Twin Star immediately transformed again and she turns into an S-class two-headed dragon. The crowd were all surprised again, and the Viking was terrified, and Twin Star immediately defeats him with a single strike. After the match, Suijin was able to meet with the person he was searching for, and he also decides to give all the prize money to Takashi so that he can save Mikan. Suijin then decides to keep continuing his journey to search for Rei and save her.